I think we'll need another mic as well. It would be very kind if you could give us another one. I think this is, our session is coming just at the right time. We have discussed secularism, and now we're talking about Hindutva. Who is misinterpreting, misrepresenting Hindutva? What is even Hindutva? Let's get started by someone who is a very young Hindutva voice in Parliament now, Tejasvi Surya. You're actually being accused of trying to impose on the country a brand of militant Hindutva.
Thank you, Padmaja, for having me here on this wonderful summit. I think in the opening remarks that you made, you stated we must first understand what Hindutva is. Let me, as briefly as possible, put the very idea of Hindutva, its evolution and its present-day political context in context so that it will serve as a primer for the discussion. India as a nation was not born on August 15, 1947. India is a continuing civilization with a millennia-old continuity, more than a few thousand years of lived civilizational experience. The primary philosophical thought of India was all-inclusive, all-accepting. It was never exclusivist, and most importantly, it never negated the existence and validity of any other philosophical, spiritual, and religious thought. However, when this land and the philosophies that was born out of this land came in contact with Semitic Abrahamic faiths like Christianity and Islam, which inherently are exclusivist, which inherently are conflicting, predatory, and proselytizing, there needed to be a response by a non-exclusive, inclusive faith, which can be called the commonwealth of Hindu spiritual traditions. To therefore respond to the aggression, the predation, and proselytizing attempts by the Abrahamic faiths that came to Indian soil, a response was made by Indians, by Hindus of that time, and that in the later context was called Hindutva. We can therefore say that if Hinduism is the potential inclusivity of the commonwealth of indigenous thought, Hindutva can be a kinetic effect which primarily is to defend Hindutva, primarily to defend the Hindu philosophy against what is not inclusive, what is primarily exclusive.
So what is this?
Therefore,
what is the need for Hindutva now? What is the threat?
This is the philosophical underpinning of what Hindutva is. Therefore, without understanding the very nature of Hindutva and what it is trying to protect itself against, we will be misinterpreting and misrepresenting the whole debate. Therefore, in that sense, Hindutva is an intellectual, political, socio response of the Hindus to prevent itself and themselves against aggression. Therefore, Hindutva cannot be dominating because Hindutva is the victim of aggression. This must be something that must be clarified at the very outset.
Fair enough. But what is the need for that aggressive Hindutva in the 21st century? What is the threat now? We're in a secular democracy. There is no proselytizing. There is no conversion.
No. Let's not jump to those conclusions when there are evidences contrary to that theory. Hindutva by its very nature cannot be aggressive because the very response of Hindutva emanated to be defensive. Padmaja, what we must in fact be discussing today is why did the Hindus of this land had to come up with an intellectual political response like Hindutva, because unless we examine and scrutinize the very basis of Abrahamic Semitic faiths, which by their very nature are proselytizing, which by their very nature are predatory, which not just that, by their own nature even go to the extent of negating the existence of other faiths as false faiths, then we must ask questions as to should the Hindu not come up with a response, intellectual, political or otherwise, to preserve and
And you
perpetuate
need that response
himself.
today also. In this day and age, in 2020 also, you need
As
that.
long as proselytizing religions will continue their existence as proselytizing religions, Hindutva should be there to protect itself, and not just protect itself, but also protect the values that the Hindu society has perpetually held as sacred and sacrosanct.
MB
And they, Padmaja, give me 10 more seconds. Those values are in consonance to the modern secular values that the Indian Constitution so dearly upholds.
Okay.
I do not think that Hindutva is misinterpreted by the forces of Hindutva. They have been true to the theory of Hindutva. And what is the theory of Hindutva? The proponent of that theory, Mr. V.D. Savarkar, has clearly differentiated it from Hinduism. According to Savarkar, Hinduism and Hindutva are not identical. It's different. And Savarkar says that Hinduism is more limited, less satisfactory, and essentially a sectarian term. So it's different from Hinduism, and we are of the view that this Hindutva, according to Savarkar, is a political ideology and a political project to establish a Hindu Rashtra. Now, my friend Tejasvi was talking about inclusiveness. After Savarkar, Mr. Golwalkar was a great proponent of Hindutva. But Golwalkar says, all those not belonging to the nation, all those not belonging to the national, that is Hindu race, religion, culture and language, naturally fall out of the pale of real national life. How this comes to be inclusive? And let me complete. See, we are opposed to this political project. We are opposed to this concept of theocratic state.
But
Whether it is based on Islam or whether it is based on Hindutva. The difference between Hinduism and Hindutva is the difference between Islam and Islamists. That is the difference.
But you go back to Golwalkar, but you forget that Mohan Bhagwat 2 years ago has said there can be no Hindu Rashtra without Muslims in it. You remember Golwalkar to say it is exclusivist, but you discount Mohan Bhagwat saying no Hindutva is possible without Muslims.
I will have to go back to Golwalkar again. Yes, Golwalkar said the foreign races in India, they have only two options. Either to merge in the Hindu race or to live here without any rights, including the citizenship rights.
So basically, Hinduism is a belief, Hindutva is a political project, and it's anti-minority.
There is no doubt that there is difference between Hinduism and Hindutva. I agree with you, sir. However, while Hinduism is one aspect of the commonwealth of spiritual traditions which are native to this land, Hindutva is the overarching political, social, intellectual response by the followers of these indigenous faiths to against the external aggression that it has faced.
But
I
there
will
is no
say this
external
repeatedly,
aggression
Padmaja.
anymore. It might have been relevant
No,
at the time.
not at all.
But now, Tejasvi Surya, when you say that if the majority is not vigilant, there'll be Mughal rule, what are the Muslims of our country going to think?
Well,
Are they
Padmaja,
Mughals?
No. If the Muslims of this country start defending the atrocities that were committed on the Hindus in the name of defending Mughal Raj, then they will be culpable of the mistakes of the past. If they will denounce it and say that we have nothing to do with that, we do not subscribe to that kind of theology and aggression, then they will have nothing to do with it, because any young Muslim in India, like any young Hindu from another part of the country, we must not have any baggage of the past.
But
if
nobody is
someone wants
defending
to-
Muslim
but if someone
Mughal
wants to say-
atrocities.
but if someone wants to say that Aurangzeb is my hero, then he must equally be held culpable for the mistakes of Aurangzeb and Tipu Sultan also. Not just that. Let me take
No,
one-
because you brought in Tipu Sultan, I think Danish Ali needs to come in on this.
Just
It's
do I
not
have 10 more
aggression,
seconds,
it's self-defense. Let him also come in. It's self-defense, Danish Ali.
See, Mr. Tejasvi has already contradicted himself by saying that they have to react. If misdeeds of anybody else in the past, if you are making in today's context that you are responsible for that, then where you are taking this country? You have many instances, whether it was akhlaq, lynching, whether it was Tabrez Ansari's lynching in Jharkhand. BJP's ministers were garlanding the accused and they were making them the heroes. And here they are saying that if Aurangzeb did something, if any Mughal emperor
But what does
did
lynching
something-
have to do with Hindutva?
No, that is what
It's a
they are
crime.
defending. They
It's
are
a
defending
crime.
them. It's a crime, but they are not. They themselves are not saying that it's a crime, but the ministers, cabinet ministers, union ministers are going there and they are garlanding them. They are welcoming
But Danish
them.
Ali, what does this have to do with
They are
Hindutva?
mixing the Hinduism or Hindutva into politics.
How?
See,
How is lynching got to do? Did they say we are garlanding them because they are Hindus? Or we are
that-
garlanding them because they have defended
you must ask this question to the BJP leaders.
No, because
Why
you
they
are
are
making the
garlanding
connection between Hindutva and
That
lynching.
is-
I'm asking you how.
No, that is what I am saying. They are misusing the religion, which is, I will say, the most diverse, most accepted. I myself, if you take an example, since my nursery to my 12th standard, I didn't have any other except one Muslim classmate. All my friends till today are all Hindus. We never thought what is going to happen, what is happening today in this country, making religion, use of religion, and saying, oh, these Muslims are threat to this religion. They are,
Who said
in
this?
any elections, all BJP leaders, what you have seen in the Delhi elections, what you have seen, अरे ये अगर जीतेंगे तो ये आपके घर में जाके they will enter in your houses and rape your
Tejasvi
sisters.
Surya, answer that. It's a dog whistle.
It's nothing. They are using for politics.
And you can talk about it being in self-defense, but it's a call to aggression.
Padmaja, the debate here is about how Hindutva is misrepresented, how it is being misinterpreted. One classic example
And I
is
want
what?
to add to that, it is being misused.
Yes.
Of course, in certain context, any ideology, politically, otherwise, if it's found expedient by both sides, it will be. We are not debating that. I would want to elevate the discussion to a much higher academic level so that we can get something more constructive out of this. There are false equivalences drawn, like how Danish Aliji is now trying to draw false equivalence between Hindutva and like how it was drawn earlier as Hindutva and Islamism, how false equivalences are drawn. Let me give an example. In the previous discussion, there was a discussion going on about Jai Shri Ram as a slogan which we must all be vigilant against. There is a difference between Jai Shri Ram and there is a difference between La ilaha illallah. And the difference is this. While Jai Shri Ram means victory to Lord Rama, La ilaha illallah primarily and precisely means there is no God but Allah. It is denying the existence of other faiths and gods. This is the inherent exclusivist nature of Abrahamic religions like Christianity and Islam. Now, the false equivalence that I'm speaking about is this. Jai Shri Ram is made equal to La ilaha illallah when theoretically, etymologically, it is not. RSS, Bajrang Dal is made, a false equivalence is drawn. Bajrang Dal equals Simi. It is not. Simi is a cutthroat Islamic terrorist organization, and we must name it and shame it in that very manner. And a false equivalence is...
Bajrang Dal is a nationalist organization burning Graham Staines and his sons in Odisha.
A false equivalence, Danish Ali ji, is also drawn with...
They are nationalists.
He's talking about Graham Staines.
Graham Staines and his sons were burnt alive by Bajrang Dal. It is a nationalist organization.
That's precisely my point, sir. Why was Graham Staines going and putting aggression on the Hindus and tribals there, trying to convert them? Conversion is the biggest form of religious intolerance and aggression.
No, just a second. Tejasvi
this
Surya,
is
are
nothing
you
but a
trying
false
to condone
propaganda,
the
like
murder
just-
of Graham Staines and his children? Saying that because he was
don't have
converting,
even a regret
hence
for
he
Graham
was...
Staines burning.
There was violence.
No, 1 second, Padmaja. Nobody here in a constitutional republic which respects rule of law will condone any act of violence, whether it is perpetrated by a Hindu or a Muslim. What we are against is if we are going to draw false equivalences and if we will be intellectually lazy and incompetent and rather pusillanimous to not understand the very nature of these threats that we are facing, then we will be facing an existential problem.
M.B. Rajesh.
See, I stick to my point that Hindutva and Hinduism are completely different.
No, but you're being accused of making false equivalences.
Please allow me to complete.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi himself called him a Sanatani Hindu. And Vivekananda was the greatest Hindu we have ever seen. Swami Vivekananda said, I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world tolerance and universal acceptance. We accept all religions as true, Vivekananda said. And see, is this the language used by Swami Vivekananda? The kind of language we are listening now, the kind of language our Hindutva leaders are using today,
like what?
even in Delhi elections, Goli Maro Salonko, that was not the language used by Mahatma Gandhi, the Sanatani Hindu,
Can one man's
or
utterances
Swami Vivekananda,
be
or
taken
Swami
as
Vivekananda.
representative of an entire ideology?
Pardon?
Does one man or one politician stand for an entire ideology?
At least for
No,
the
not
entire
one
party,
man,
that
not-
the same
see-
man was given
see-
an opportunity to
that is
initiate
what-
the presidential
please, Danish ji,
debate
Danish-
in parliament.
Danish ji.
That was having a...
So then let me
Danish
ask
ji,
you,
no, question was to
approval
me,
by
no.
the BJP
does
leadership.
Akbaruddin Owaisi
And
Padmaja.
represent an entire ideology when he made a hate speech?
Padmaja, she said, no, my point is that is what I'm saying. We are not opposed to Hinduism. The Hindutva is not misrepresented. It is not misused. Hindutva is used. It is just used. They are using it to divide people. They are using it to unleash violence. They are using it to divide the country. That is
Rajesh ji, I have a couple of questions, Padmaja, if you will
But
permit.
I want to again circle back because you didn't answer the question about false equivalences. The point being made here is Hindutva is an ideology which says live and let live, but we will not be mute to aggression anymore. To say that self-defense is equivalent to violence is making a false equivalence.
It's complete nonsense. He's talking about what self-defense? Who is aggressive? Who is doing aggression now? He's talking about aggression. He's talking about self-defense. So this is nothing but the concealment of the fact that they are dividing people using this ideology. This is a political project.
Padmaja, if there was no aggression on the indigenous faiths of India, there would not have been Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh today. The fact that India has lost 1/3 of its territory to foreign faiths is a clear indication that this was religious, cultural aggression. And I want to ask Rajesh ji and his communist friends and his communist historians, when have you and your friends in the media and your intellectual compatriots, when have you subjected Muslim leaders, Urdu newspapers, and the theology of Islam and Christianity to the same kind of scrutiny and criticism that you have held the Hindu organizations, Hindu newspapers, and Hindu leaders to? Well, if I appreciate the fact that you hold constitutional values dear to you, sir. But why have you ever not come out in aggressive defense of the Constitution when in so many parts of the country, every Friday, Maulvis go on loudspeakers saying that their primary allegiance is to Quran and not to the Constitution of India? Where did your love for Constitution go?
This
is
is nothing.
Not just that.
This is nothing.
This is misinterpretation.
Sir, not at all.
This is misinterpretation.
ये एक फिर जहर की खेती बो रहे हैं. इनका काम ही ये है कि किस तरीके से लोगों के जहन में जो है जहर
आप कह रहे हैं ये झूठ है?
ये बिल्कुल पक्का झूठ है. जैसे अभी झूठ ये लोग अंग्रेजों की दलाली कर रहे थे और टीपू सुल्तान को कहते जो बड़ा वॉरियर था कि उसने जो है मतलब हमले किए हैं. टीपू सुल्तान वाज अ ग्रेट वॉरियर हु फॉट ब्रिटिशर्स लाइक एनीथिंग. और ये इनके जो पूर्वज थे वो सब अंग्रेजों की दलाली कर रहे थे.
Okay, language, please, language. But let me ask you this.
Danish, your intolerance is coming out in every single word that you are speaking.
But our own President of India, addressing Karnataka Assembly, has praised Tipu Sultan. You go and ask the President of India.
There was a communist or a Marxist officer who, without giving a second word, had written a speech to the President of India. That officer must be sacked and must be brought to account.
You don't believe in Constitution. Tipu Sultan's photo, Tipu Sultan's reference is in the original Constitution. Yes. Page number 44. You don't believe in Constitution. You believe in your own ideology that how you can massacre others.
I am extremely happy, Padmaja, that Danish Ali ji is so overzealously proclaiming his allegiance and respect for the Constitution. I hope the same overzealousness is also shown in putting facts out, and he will stop his opposition, mindless opposition to the CAA, knowing fully well that it is within its Constitution. Let him not misguide people who are not aware of this. But Padmaja, when MB Rajesh ji brought the quoted Mahatma Gandhi, and also when Danish Ali ji quoted Constitution and Tipu Sultan, there is one point that I also want all of us to ponder over.
By the way, since you spoke about Tipu Sultan's picture being there in the Constitution, Lord Ram's picture is also there in the Constitution. And yet somebody famously remarked, where did he live? Which school did he go to?
So Lord Ram जो है वो खाली इनके नहीं है, वो पूरे हिंदुस्तान के इमाम हिंद हैं.
Very good,
they
sir.
Don't
Thank
even
you so
believe
much.
it in Lord Ram. They use Lord Ram only for their politics.
Okay, but आप दानिश अली आप कहते हैं,
they don't believe in Lord Ram's philosophy at all.
दानिश अली आप कहते हैं there is no aggression. What is this aggression that this Hindutva is saying that we are defending against? आप अब BSP में हैं. BSP का एक बार बहुत फेमस स्लोगन हुआ करता था, तिलक तराजू और तलवार उनको मारो.
BSP का
क्या था?
स्लोगन है सर्वजन सुखाए सर्वजन हिताए.
Padmaja, he was in JDS then. Don't ask him to answer legacy questions of BSP now.
है ना?
चलिए सर, आप कम से कम जूतों से आप सर्वजन सुखाए तक तो आए हैं, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है. But you know, when we're talking about making equivalences, you said it is a political project, Hindutva. Why is it that the BJP is pilloried for being a Hindu party or a Hindutva party, and yet there are parties in our country like the IUML or the AIMIM whose existence or whose genesis is religious?
See,
isn't there a hypocrisy there?
I am not saying that BJP is a Hindu party. I am saying that BJP is a Hindutva party.
Sure. What type of party is
it's
AIMIM?
It's a Hindutva party.
Yes,
and
we are.
Savarkar said...
But what is an AIMIM then?
Please let me complete. Savarkar said, Hinduism is only a derivative of Hindutva. It's a derivative of Hindutva. So that is their understanding. So I'm not misrepresenting. And when you talk about Muslim League...
But he agrees with that. He says, yes, it is.
See, when you talk about Muslim Leagues, yes, Muslim League is a political party based on religion. But there's a difference. Muslim League has not played such an ideology of an Islamic state in India, converting India into a theocratic state. Muslim League this current Muslim League has no such ideology.
You're saying Hindutva is turning it into a Hindu.
Yeah. That is why I said. See, my friend Tejasvi was saying that this country was divided because of this Muslims and other religions which came from abroad. So that was his point. In order to avoid misinterpretation, let me quote again Mr. Savarkar. In 1937, at the open session of this Hindu Mahasabha's conference in Ahmedabad, Savarkar said, India cannot be assumed today to be a unitarian and homogeneous nation. But on the contrary, there are two nations in the main, the Hindus and Muslims. It was said by Savarkar. So who is responsible for the division of the country? Who has mooted the idea of two-nation theory?
you are
Even before
bringing
Jinnah.
back the two
Yes,
nations.
Jinnah concurred with Savarkar in 1941. But 4 years before, Savarkar had mooted this theory of two nations.
Okay, so Hindutva is the two-nation theory project.
What M.B. Rajesh, like all communist historians, is indulging in selective quoting. He quotes Savarkar in 1937, but he does not quote Sir Syed Ahmad Khan in 1926, when he said Hindus and Muslims are two different nations.
I'll quote Maududi
Please.
also.
But, Padmaja, I will go back to the fundamentals again. And let me quote someone whose quote today, in today's context, if someone says it, will be branded fascist, communal. Let me read this, sir. It is a shame to both the Hindus and the Muslims that the Hindus should have to run away from their homes as they have done. It is a shame for the Muslims because it is out of fear of the Muslims that the Hindus have run away. Why should a human being inspire fear in another? My own experience but confirms the opinion that the Muslim as a rule is a bully and the Hindu as a rule is a coward. Hazard a guess, M.B. Rajesh ji, who said this? Danish Ali ji, do you want to take a guess?
You are also doing selective.
No. Do you want to quote who said this? Take a guess.
Tell us.
Mahatma Gandhi ji said this.
See,
Imagine today if any political leader would have made a statement like this.
You
My
are
point-
not only
not
selectively,
like this, sir.
selectively quoting Mahatma
Rajesh ji,
Gandhi,
please
but
give me-
also
Rajesh, I
misquoting
didn't
him.
interrupt when you spoke. My point here, Padmaja, is before
From
19...
Danish Ali ji.
आजकल इनको जो भी खराब से खराब काम करना होता है
महात्मा गांधी को
उसमें
quote करेंगे।
महात्मा गांधी का नाम ले लेते हैं
ठीक है।
क्योंकि इनके पास अपना तो कोई है नहीं सो दे आर इंपोर्टिंग महात्मा गांधी दे आर इंपोर्टिंग सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल
No,
दे
we
आर
all
इंपोर्टिंग
see-
सुभाष चंद्र बोस बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव एनी ऑफ देयर ओन लीडर्स हु हैव एनी कंट्रीब्यूशन फॉर द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल
बट दानिश जी आप फिर भी
पद्मजा,
आप मैसेज की बात कीजिए ना।
पद्मजा,
और मैसेंजर का मजाक उड़ाइए और मैसेज की बात कीजिए।
ये राम को भी
पद्मजा,
अपने
we all
लिए
have
इस्तेमाल करते
seen-
हैं जबकि राम मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम है मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम राम को भी सेलेक्टिवली खाली अपनी पॉलिटिक्स के लिए यूज करते हैं
I am appalled that Danish
Mahatma
Ali ji
Gandhi has also said-
is speaking in such glowing terms on Sri Ram when he does not condemn the idea of La ilaha illallah, which denies the very existence of Lord Ram as a god.
Padmaja.
That shows his double standards. Let me go a step further, Padmaja.
Wait, he wants to
please.
counter you there.
Padmaja.
Sir,
Gandhi,
please,
yes.
please.
I would ask Tejasvi why he is not quoting Mahatma Gandhi when he said, there is no religion other than truth. Truth is Rama, Narayana, Khuda, Allah, God. So Mahatma Gandhi has said this also. Mahatma
Who
Gandhi
is
has
denying that, sir?
See,
Who
you
is
are
denying that? It is universal
see, no,
truth.
you are not only misquoting. You are misrepresenting and misinterpreting Mahatma Gandhi. We
Sir,
all have
I
seen.
challenge you.
I'm not,
If there is
I'm not,
I have quoted him verbatim. I have quoted verbatim.
Okay.
I do not suffer from this intellectual disease that the leftists suffer of quoting selectively
we all
when
have
it
seen,
is
we
convenient
all
to
have
them.
seen
I do
how
not belong
Mahatma
to that
Gandhi
ideology,
was
sir.
misquoted
Please do
in
not
presidential
accuse me
address
of that.
on CAA.
So
How
because
Mahatma
of this
Gandhi was
quote only,
misquoted in
Mahatma Gandhi
presidential
was
address in
assassinated
CAA.
by, their
We have
ideology.
seen that.
Okay, on this
Padmaja, I
particular
have a
quote of
larger
Mahatma
point
Gandhi,
to make.
I have
that.
it is not a misquote because this happened, if I'm not mistaken, after the Noakhali massacres.
Precisely.
That is when Mahatma
No, I'm
Gandhi
not talking
spoke
about this one.
about how in Bengal,
In presidential
there were
address,
Hindus
Mahatma
being
Gandhi
burned.
was
Mahatma
misquoted.
Gandhi spoke
Padmaja,
about
what
that
Mahatma
again.
Gandhi said when
Padmaja-
he went to Bihar?
Padmaja, one
What
second.
Mahatma
Before
Gandhi said after Noakhali, what Mahatma Gandhi said when he went to Bihar after the riots?
What did he say?
Out of 133 Congress committee members, what he said? He was ashamed of.
Yeah.
He is quoting selectively.
Ashamed of what?
Ashamed of what has happened there.
Sir,
Of course,
what he
yeah,
said.
what has happened there?
That's what he has
Who will be
condemned.
proud
He
of
has
a communal-
condemned everybody.
Mahatma Gandhi said,
they are selective.
the skeletons of Muslims will tell me who all killed them. Mahatma Gandhi said, and Mahatma Gandhi told Congress people that you are also,
You are also
responsible.
responsible.
You are also responsible for this killing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're
So who is
underlining the
defending
point.
that?
No.
Padmaja, the larger
He
point
is
I want to
selectively
make is
quoting
this.
Mahatma Gandhi according to his convenience.
All of our political leaders prior to 1947, including the likes of the great Mahatma Gandhi, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Aurobindo, Vivekananda, all of them fearlessly had a commitment to truth, and political convenience and expediency did not come in the way of scrutinizing the very nature of Islam. I challenge all of you, sir, if there is no political leader in India, an intellectual political leader in India in today's current times, because the media and academia is so polluted and corrupted today, will not allow such a section, Padmaja, all right.
That's true.
But a leader like Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who had the gumption to say what he did in writing thoughts on Pakistan. Today, if you say that, you will be accused of being fascist, you will be accused of being communal, you will be called a hate monger. My point, Padmaja, is for far too long, the Hindus and the Hindutva leaders whose primary ideology is a defensive reaction towards aggression have been put in the witness box as perpetrators of aggression. That has to change, and that has to change for always and for good times to come. And those people, we must be now asking questions. We must be asking questions to those followers and leaders of Abrahamic faiths, and we must ask them, put them to the same kind of scrutiny that Hindu leaders are put to. We must ask them, does not your religion at the very inception, very fundamental beliefs, believe in dividing the world between believers and non-believers? Is that not exclusivist? Our questions must be rooted at that, because unless we have the intellectual strength to ask those fundamental questions, we will be continuing to draw false equivalences, and we will be treating only the symptom and not the disease itself.
Okay, as long as it remains at the level of asking those questions, yes, we can have that debate, because this Hinduism, Hindutva, what it means in our current day is a lived reality. I'm going to leave it open-ended, but let's always remember, in the name of any religion or any ideology, there can never be and there should never be space for violence. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, M.B. Rajesh, Tejasvi Surya, Danish Ali, for having joined us on this panel.
Thank you, everyone. That was surely a heated debate, wasn't it? Now, we discussed yesterday as well that the Citizenship Amendment Act has divided opinion, right from the streets all the way up to the parliament. Now, one of the reasons for this is the confusion over its links, or the lack of it, with the National Register of Citizens, or the NRC. Now, this has proven a recipe for chaos, and we hope that the upcoming debate is only going to provide us with some clarity as to what is this NRC and what is the Citizenship Amendment Act all about. For exactly that, I'm going to invite on stage Times Now's Editor-in-Chief, Rahul Shivshankar. He's going to be speaking with Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. Swapan Das Gupta, Congress MP, Jyoti Mani, and CPM member, Mr. Mohammad Salim.